Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Earning Our Stripes. It has been a minute, for sure. Been kind of just taking just mental break from doing all sorts of stuff, and I know I'm behind on uploading videos, very behind, but we'll get to that at some point. I have off the holidays for work, so here's to me hopefully doing something during that with the channel here. But yeah, this will be going up on, let's say, yeah, this will go up on Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. But hope you guys are all having a great holiday and got some cool stuff. Uh, maybe things Tigers related. Who knows? But hopefully everyone's having a great time with their family, as I know that I will be as well. But hopefully everyone has a great holiday. And so, yeah, and I'm your host, Benjamin Duncan, by the way. But the last time we talked to you guys, Arkansas was coming to Columbia to play Mizzou, in which I was supposed to be at that game, in which my mom and I were going to go to that game, but I-70 was backed up by about an hour, hour and a half due to snow and really bad traffic, and so we decided not to go and instead just watch it on our own time at home. But your Tigers ended up winning that game 28-21, in which for passing yards, Brady Cook went 10 of 20 with 168 yards, while I think it's Taylon Green. Yes, Taylon Green went 21 of 35 with 229 yards. Marcus Carroll for the Tigers had 22 carries for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Jay Jackson for Arkansas had 18 carries, 87 yards, and 3 touchdowns. As you can tell, it's a very run-heavy game since there was snow on the field. And your receiving leaders for the game, Theo Weiss Jr. for the Tigers with 4 receptions, 100 yards. And Armstrong for Arkansas with 9 receptions, 128 yards. Brady Cook also had a rushing touchdown in the game to give the Tigers the win at the very end of the game. But that put your Tigers at 9-3 to end the season, 5-3 in conference, in which the Tigers were given the bowl game of the, what the heck is this thing called? The Transperfect Music City Bowl on Monday, December 30th in Nashville at 1:30 p.m. against the Iowa Hawkeyes, who went 8-4 and were 6th in the Big Ten this year. I don't think I'm going to be at that game, but we'll see what happens. I have off for the holidays, like I had said, and tickets are going for as low as $23 at Nissan Stadium, the home of the Tennessee Titans. Currently, Missouri is favored by 3 points over Iowa, with ESPN's matchup predictor giving the Tigers a 52.6% chance of winning to Iowa's 47.4%. In Iowa's last 5, they won 4 out of 5, the one loss to UCLA. And Mizzou going 3-2 in their last 5, losing to a close game to South Carolina, and that terrible blowout loss in October to Alabama at Alabama for Alabama's homecoming. The weather is projected to be 59 degrees for game time in Nashville, so very nice weather for your Tigers to play in Nashville at the end of December, given that. But some season leaders for your teams. For Mizzou, Brady Cook leads in passing yards with 183 of 289, with 2,248 yards passing, with 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Rushing, Nate Noel leads the team with 157 carries, 804 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And our receiving leader on the season is Theo Weiss Jr. with 55 receptions, 809 yards, and 3 touchdowns. On the other side of the ball, the Iowa Hawkeyes, our team that we will be playing against, and very shortened Know Your Enemy this week. Cade McNamara was 104 of 172 with 1,017 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Rushing yard leader for Iowa, Caleb Johnson, who had 240 carries for 1,537 yards and 21 touchdowns. And for receiving leaders, Jacob Gill leads the Hawkeyes with 32 receptions for 382 yards and 2 touchdowns. You can tell that this is a very run-heavy team, as the quarterback situation is kind of mid. But yes, be looking for Iowa to run the ball a lot. And Mizzou's probably going to run the ball, but not as much as Iowa is. It'll be a close game. Let me pull up Winspedia here. Winspedia. Let me see. Compare. Let's see. Missouri versus Iowa. Compare teams. This series all time is Mizzou 7, Iowa 6. Current win streak, Iowa on a one-game win streak in which they last played in 2010. These two teams played in 1892, in which Mizzou won. Then 1893, Iowa won. 1894, Mizzou won. 1895, Mizzou won. 1896, Iowa won. And then they don't play again until 1902, in which Mizzou won 6-0. Then 1903, Iowa wins 16-0. Then Iowa wins in 1906. Missouri wins in 1908 on a score of 10-5. Then 1909, Missouri wins. 1910, Missouri wins 5-0. And then, as I said, they played in 1910, and then they don't play again for 100 years until 2010, in which that game was very close, in which I do believe this matchup for the Music City Bowl will be very close, in which my score prediction will be 27-24. Same score as the last time they played in 2010 when they played in Tempe, Arizona for a bowl game as well. But Missouri coming out on top this time. Then we have let's see, I guess we can go to mailbag here, in which I know I had seen that Noah had said good luck to Brock, in which Brock very much appreciates it. And also, Noah was wanting to see Mizzou play Nebraska in a bowl game, in which I would be okay with that. And then we have all of the list of the things that Brock has sent me, since there hasn't been an episode of this recorded in pretty much a month. But let's dive on in here and find out what we have. In which, when was the last time this was opened? I think the last time this was opened. Okay. Okay. We'll go with this one. We'll start off with this one from Sickos Committee. But Mizzou, Arkansas is probably the football game in history. This is the football game I'd show someone who was like, I want to know what football is like and why people like it, but don't start me off too high. I don't want it to be all downhill from here. Thank you, Sickos Committee. Yes, as I had mentioned earlier, there was snow in Columbia for the Arkansas game, in which there's the field right there. We have volleyball beating Auburn, 3-0. Let's see, Boston College, Vanderbilt, Auburn, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, all home wins, all games that took 20 years off the end of my life. MIZ till I die, just probably will be quicker after this season. Volleyball went to the NCAA Dallas Regional, and as the Tigers were the 7th seed. In which they were seeded with SMU, Wichita State, Texas State, and themselves. Mizzou flipped a 4-star running back commit from another SEC school, Marquise Davis from Cleveland, Ohio, from Cleveland Heights. Running back, 6 foot tall, 210 pounds, 4-star. Also, 4-star wide receiver Demarion Folks has flipped his commitment from Pitt to Missouri. The 5'11", 175-pound wide receiver from Olney, Maryland, had been committed to the Panthers since June. Mizzou defensive end Johnny Walker named SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week after recording a career-high 11 tackles, 1.5 tackle for loss, 1 sack, and a career-high 2 forced fumbles versus Arkansas. Those forced fumbles led to 14 Mizzou points, which were huge in Mizzou's 28-21 win. A little perspective this morning. 11-5-22. Mizzou suffers a brutal home loss to Kentucky. We were cursed. It's difficult to fathom that we would follow. Next 17 games at Faroe. 16-1, 8-1 in conference, 9-0 in one-score games, 12 straight sellouts. Yeah, no college football playoff, but what a ride it's been. KU Hate Week, as which we'll get to that in a minute, because the basketball team was playing in Columbia against KU. Luther Burden declared for the draft. Volleyball ranked to 25th, so they dropped one. Mizzou signed Julio Mar Campos, catcher out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, for the baseball team. Men's basketball beat Cal. Blah, 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 blah. Missouri trailed Cal by 16 points at halftime. It then scored 63 points in the second half to earn a comeback victory. I thought Cal coach Mark Madsen was exaggerating when he said Mizzou shot almost 90% in the second half. He was not. They were 22 of 26 for 84.6% after the break. Baker Mayfield lost a bet with Bucks team reporter Casey Phillips, and as a result is donning this Mizzou hoodie. He's not thrilled, in which Baker Mayfield wore the Mizzou grandma sweatshirt. I'm sure many of you already saw that. Let's see. Mizzou has signed the number 1 rated defensive end in the nation in back-to-back years, Williams Nawiri, in which he is transferred out of the program. And they got Javion Hilson for 2025. Mizzou signed 9 blue-chip recruits today, according to Rivals. It's the first time they've signed more than 8 4- or 5-star recruits in one class since Rivals began tracking recruiting in 2002. 2025 SEC football game dates will be unveiled next Wednesday, blah, 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 so that's already passed. Brock had sent that before Mizzou played KU, Creighton was playing them, in which Creighton ended up beating them, and so Mizzou led them to a second straight loss. back-to-back. Brady Cook was named the SEC Football Scholar Athlete of the Year for a second straight year. Mizzou signed right-handed pitcher Keegan Koloff from Birch Run, Michigan. We have new SEC Power Rankings just dropped, and it's based on how far each stadium is by Google Maps walking distance to the nearest Popeyes, in which Mizzou ranks 5th at 2.3 miles. Which I will be saving this photo. Then we have Mizzou had a first-round sweep, beating Texas State 3-0 in the championship thing they were invited to. Mizzou women's basketball beat SMU. Harrison Mevis has signed with the Birmingham Stallions in the UFL. Hopefully this leads him to a shot at the NFL. Volleyball then beat SMU 3-1 in volleyball. Then Mizzou hockey beats Oklahoma State 7-4. Question we have: would you like Mizzou and UNLV to play a bowl game this year? In which that would have been cool with Barry Odom, but sucks what happened with his job and everything, and them just basically getting rid of him after having a really good year. As I mentioned earlier, Mizzou will face off against Iowa in the Music City Bowl. Brock sent a bunch of stuff about not liking KU fans. Fog Allen was from Missouri. Blah, blah, blah. Missouri fined for violation of access to competition area policy. Something, blah, blah, who cares? Abby Shraiky is first in the SEC and tied 4th in the country with 33 made threes for women's basketball. Rooting for other SEC teams is out of the window. Time for Mizzou fans to actively root against the SEC. Mizzou versus the world. The countdown begins. The 114th Mizzou homecoming will take place on September 27th, 2025. Very early. Should have it in October. Just play it against an SEC team, please. But it's going to be against UMass. Okay, cool. Let's see. Mizzou has produced 3 all-SEC defensive linemen the last 3 years. Darius Robinson, Isaiah McGuire, and Johnny Walker Jr. Mizzou baseball signed outfielder Sam Parker from Marietta, Georgia. And then we have the last thing that Brock had sent us. 2 notes from today. Mizzou exceeded their win total from a year ago. Number 2, at this precise moment in time, they have the nation's longest win streak in D1. Number 2 is no longer accurate due to a Florida victory. Those couple of hours were great. And then, what's his face? We had a huge transfer, and we have the quarterback problem solved for next year on who's going to be starting for Mizzou, in which a lot of people were saying Sam Horn could come back from injury, which isn't going to happen. Matt Zollers could start as a true freshman, but we all know Mizzou wouldn't want to do that. But the backup quarterback for Penn State, what's his last name? Bo Pribula is transferring to Mizzou next year, in which he still has multiple years of eligibility left. And so I want to hear what you guys think. What are your thoughts on Mizzou getting Bo, and what that might lead to next season and what we can kind of expect? This is a bit of a shorter episode. I don't really have much more to say, and I mean, that kind of covered everything that I know of. So, hope, like I said earlier, hope you guys all have a great holiday season for whatever you celebrate. Hope you have good time with family or just good time in general. Uh, as I said, I've been your host, Benjamin Duncan. Sorry for not doing a podcast here recently. It's just haven't really felt like it, and I mean, since football's been over, it's kind of been a dead spot here recently with not a lot of stuff going on, I guess. But there's some stuff, and we talked about that today. But slowly but surely, we are earning our stripes. I've been your host, Benjamin Duncan, as I said for the third time now. MIZZOU. Go Tigers! Beat the Hawkeyes, go! Have a great rest of your day, folks.